2,000 points of Tyranids. The Warlord is a Hive Tyrant with wings, 2 sets of Twin-Link Devourers, Hive Commander, Haywire Grubs. Warlord trait is Strategic Genius, allows them to add +1 to seize the initiative, and re-roll both failed and successful reserve rolls. His psychic powers are Dominion, Paroxysm, and Psychic Scream. We have another identical Flyrant. His psychic powers are Dominion, Catalyst, and Onslaught. We then have 2 Tervagons. They both have Haywire Grubs and Cluster Spines. Tervagon on the left has Onslaught. Tervagon on the right has Catalyst. We then have 3 broods of 30 Termagants, 15 Devourers in each, 3 individual units of Venom Throbes, a Trigon, a Carnifex with 2 sets of Twin-Link Devourers, and a Biovore. 2,000 points of Nurgle Chaos Space Marines. The Warlord is a Chaos Lord with the mark of Nurgle, mounted on a bike. He has the Burning Brand of Skalathrax, a Strength 4, AP 3, Assault 1, Turret Soul Blaze weapon. His Warlord trait is Divide and Conquer. He makes the opponent -1 to the reserve rolls. He is accompanying 9 Nurgle Bikers with 2 Melta-Guns in the squad. The Sergeant has Melta-Bombs. Behind him is a squad of Havocs with 4 Heavy Bolters. We then have another squad of Havocs with 4 missile launchers, a third squad of Havocs with 4 missile launchers, and then 3 squads of Plague Marines, 10 Marines in each squad. Squad all the way on the right has 2 Melta-Guns. Squad all the way on the left has 2 Melta-Guns. Squad in the middle has a Melta-Gun, and the Sergeant has Melta-Bombs. All 3 squads are mounted in Rhinos. And finally, we have 2 Helldrakes. And that has 2,000 points of Nurgle Chaos Space Marines. The battlefield before deployment. Deployment type, Hammer and Anvil. Mission type, the Scouring. Tyranids deploy on this side. Place their objective in the building. Chaos Space Marines deploy on the opposite side. Of course, can't deploy right next to them, that's craziness. Place their objective in the building. And let's see how the craziness ensues. With the lonely little park in the middle. So much grass. And on to deployment. Deployment. Tyranids will go first. Biovores control the objective. Tervagon in the ruins. Venom Throb in the ruins. 1 squad of Termagons spread along the flank. The Warlord, Flyrant, Tervagon, Carnifex are all being shadowed by the 2 individual Venom Throbes. 3 reserves, the Trigon will be deep striking, and the 2 other squads of Termagants will be outflanking. Now to the Chaos. Rhino on the eastern flank. Squad of Havocs and missile launchers in the building, giving them a good vantage point against the Carnifex and the Warlord. We also have another squad of Heavy Bolter Havocs up front. Rhino. Havocs with missile launchers holding back, holding the objective. Warlord and his 9 Bikers. Rhino behind the building, and 2 Helldrakes in reserve. Do the forces of chaos seize the initiative? And they do not. Tyranids turn 1. Tyranids move up. Now for the Tervagon to spawn some Gaunts, and he spawns 3, 9, 14 Gaunts and doesn't crap out. Other Tervagon spawns Gaunts, and he also doesn't crap out, scoring 12. Tyranids Psychic Phase, and they get extra 2 Warp Charge points. Hive Tyrant's going to use 2 Warp Charge points to try getting off Catalyst. And successful. Hive Tyrant gives Catalyst to himself, as well as the Warlord Hive Tyrant. The Hive Tyrant is going to use 2 more Warp Charge points to try getting Onslaught onto the Carnifex. Successful. The Tervagon is going to use 2 warp charge points to try getting off onslaught into the Termagants. Successful. This Tervagon is going to use 2 warp charge points to try giving himself Catalyst, as well as the other Tervagon. And it is successful. End of Tyranids, turn 1. The Hive Tyrant and Carnifex fired upon the... Oh wait! The Havocs are gone. All heavy bolters are gone, giving Tyranids first blood. The Warlord then fired upon the Havocs that were in the building, killed 4 of them. The Lonely Missile Launcher is running away. Pretty much everything else moved up, and then the Biovore shot a Spore Mine right here at the Havocs. It scattered over 7 inches and gave birth to a little Spore Mine. Teeny tiny Spore Mine. Look at him. Magnificent. And now for Chaos. Turn 1. Chaos, turn 1. The missile launcher is continuing to run off the board. The Rhino has moved, unloaded its payload, unloaded its payload, moved, unloaded its payload. Bikers have moved up. Now it's time to let the shooting commence. End of Chaos, turn 1. Both Plague Squads fired upon the Hive Tyrant, doing no damage. Both Rhinos fired upon the Hive Tyrant, doing no damage. 4 Havocs fired upon this Hive Tyrant, taking down 2 wounds. Everything else fired at it and did no damage. And now for a grounding test. And the Hive Tyrant stays in the air. Now on to Tyranids, turn 2. Tyranids, turn 2, rolling for reserves. 2 squads of outflanking Termagants. 1 comes in. Deep Striking Trigon does not come in. Reroll for the Deep Striking Trigon. Due to Strategic Genius. Comes in. Rerolling for the Termagants due to Strategic Genius. And they do not come in. Rolling to see if the Trigon Deep Strikes into a mishap. And he just moves over 3 inches. He is fine. Rolling to see what side the Termagants come in with their outflanking ability. 1, 2 it's the left side, 3, 4 it's the right side, 5, 6. Player choice. And it's the player's choice. All Tyranids moved up. Tervagon's gonna spawn some Gaunts. And he spawns 10. But gets plugged up. Wah, wah, wah. Other Tyranid's gonna spawn some Gaunts. And he spawns 15 and also gets plugged up. All Tyranids moved up. End of the movement phase, now beginning of the psychic phase. How many extra warp charge points do the Tyranids get? And it is 5. The Hive Tyrant is going to attempt to cast Catalyst on himself, as well as the other Hive Tyrant. And he casts it. But it still goes off. This Hive Tyrant is going to use Psychic Scream. And it does not go off. Hive Tyrant's going to use Paroxysm on this Plague Marine squad. Roll it and it would negate it, but I passed 2 warp charge points, which means the Chaos player would have to negate 2, but with that only 1 dice, that means that nothing happens, and then it means the Tyranids are awesome, and that means the Chaos suck, and now let's activate everything else. Tervagon is going to use Catalyst on the Carnifex. 2 dice, and it goes off. End of Tyranids, turn 2. Termagants have come in on the side. Trigon's in. Termagants shot 60 shots at the Plague Marines, killing 2 of them. The Hive Tyrant and Carnifex. There he is. There he is. Kill 2 Plague Marines. The Hive Tyrant uses Haywire Grubs on the Bikers, managing to take a whole point off the tank. Doing no damage to the Bikers. Fires Devours. Did no damage to the Bikers. Look at the Chaos Lord of Death. Biovore shot. Direct hit. No damage. Trigon shot at the back of the tank. Managed to take out another hull point. Termagants assaulted the Plague Marines. Managing to kill 1 of them. But losing 10 Termagants in the process. Turvagon and Gaunts fired at the Plague Marines, doing no damage. And they're tied in combat. Chaos Marines won. Termagants lost, but they're fearless. Now on to Chaos. Turn 2. Chaos turn 2, rolling for reserves. 2 Helldrakes. And they both come in. End of Chaos, turn 2. The Helldrakes came in, Vector Strike the Tyrants. Did nothing to this one. Took a wound off this one, but he passed his grounding test, bringing him down to 1 wound. They then proceeded to fire, taking out 7 Gaunts in this squad, wounding the Venom Throbe, taking out 7 Gaunts in this squad. Then we have over here the Bike Squad and the Havocs, killed the Trigon. And then in the assault phase, the Plague Marines killed 12 Gaunts, and the Plague Marines killed 14 Gaunts, suffering no casualties themselves. And now on to Tyranids, turn 3. Tyranids turn 3, rolling for reserves, rolling for the outflanking Termagants, and they come in. On a 1-2, they come on the left side of the board. On a 3-4, they come on the right side of the board. And on a 5-6, player choice, and it's the right side of the board. Tyranids turn 3. The outflanking Termagants have strategically placed themselves along the edge. That way all the Devourers are in range of the Plague Marines. The High Tyrant starts swooping again and Vector Strike the Helldrake, doing nothing. The other Hive Tyrant continued swooping and moved closer towards the objective. On the other side, the Turvagon and Termagants have all moved back to try securing the objective because the Helldrizzies are coming for them. And now, Psychic Phase. How many extra warp charge points do the Tyranids get? And they get 2. 2. The Turvagon will attempt to cast Catalyst on himself as well as the Termagants that are in close combat, using 3 warp charge points, and he gets it off. Oh yeah, feel that pain, or not. This Hive Tyrant will attempt to cast Catalyst on himself as well as the other Flyrant, using 3 warp charge points, and he gets it off. Now the Flyrant will attempt to cast Psychic Scream on the Havocs, or just in general since it's a Nova power, using 2 warp charge points, and successful. End of Tyranids, turn 3. The High Tyrant shot at the side armor of the Helldrake, bringing him down to 1 hull point. This Hive Tyrant used Psychic Scream. The Havocs failed it by 5, killing the entire squad. He then fired at the rear armor of what was once the Helldrake. Termagants over here unloaded their Devourers and killed 5 Plague Marines. The other Termagants then unloaded their Flesh Borers, killing nothing. Tried to assault, lost a man from Overwatch, and was not in assault range. The Carnifex fired at the Bikers, killing 2 of them. In the assault, 7 more Gaunts died. 7 more Gaunts died. And that was it for Tyranids. Turn 3. Now on to Chaos, turn 3. End of Chaos, turn 3. All 3 Rhinos ran for the objective because they can claim it now, because it's 7th edition, and that's what they do. The Biker shot then assaulted the Carnifex, bringing him down to just 1 wound. Over here in the combat, the Plague Marines finished off the Gaunts, and then consolidated into the trees. Only Venom Throbes can prevent forest fires. On the other side of the board, the Plague Marines defeated their Termagants and consolidated back to hold. And then the Helldrake killed 3 Gaunts, the Venom Throbe, and did nothing to the Turvagon yet again. And now for Tyranids turn 4. Tyranids turn 4. Turvagon has moved up into the building, securing the objective. All other Tyranids are moving up. And now the Psychic Phase. it is time to see how many additional warp charge points are being cast. And we have 1 additional warp charge point. The Tervagon is going to attempt to cast Catalyst on himself, as well as these lovely gaunts. 3 warp charge points, and he gets the perils. And now let's see what that perils is. And it's 2. Mental Purge. The Psyker suffers 1 wound, glancing it with no saves allowed. In addition, randomly select 1 psychic power known to the Psyker. That power is immediately lost and cannot be used by the Psyker for the rest of the battle. So on a 1, 2, 3, it's Dominion. On a 4, 5, 6, it's Catalyst. And he can no longer use Catalyst. The Hive Tyrant is going to attempt to cast Catalyst on himself, as well as the Carnifex. 3 warp charge, and he passes. No perils for you, Hive Tyrant. End of Tyranids, turn 4. The Termagants shot, then assaulted the Plague Marines, killing 3 of them. 3 Termagants and a Tervagon assaulted 3 Plague Marines, killing a single Plague Marine, but losing 2 Termagants. Over here, the Termagants assaulted the Marines in the forest, managing to kill 5 of them, and losing only a single Termagant. Over here, neither side did any wounds to each other, and the Chaos Bikers try to hit and run, but they failed their initiative. They were just too slow. The Hive Tyrant did absolutely nothing to the Rhino. As far as the other Hive Tyrant, he's wrecked the Rhino. And now on to Chaos, turn 4. End of Chaos, turn 4. The Helldrake shifted into hover mode, managed to take out a wound off the Tervagon, the Biovore, killed the Gaunt. We then over here, where the Rhinos have secured the objective. This Rhino owns the objective. Over here in combat, we have the dead Carnifex. You can see his guts somewhere if you look closely. We then have the Bikers that are consolidating off to try and at least clear some people off to the objective. In this combat, the 2 Marines are good. They killed 4 Gaunts. In this combat, the 4 Marines are good. They killed 5 Gaunts. These 2 Plague Marines are good, but the Gaunt is not. And now on to Tyranids, turn 5 for the Hive Mind. End of Tyranids, turn 5. The Hive Tyrant fired everything he had, did no damage to the Rhino. Second Hive Tyrant fired everything he had, bring the other Rhino down to 1 hull point. The Plague Marines managed to cause a wound to the Tervagon before he killed them. Everything moved up. 1 Plague Marine died. 7 Termagants died. This combat's going to be extra long. Now over here, unaffected. Let's see here, the Biovore shot into the Bikers, did no damage, and besides the fact that the Gaunts and the Venom Throw killed the last 2 remaining Plague Marines, nothing else happened in Tyranids. Turn 5. Now for Chaos. Turn 5. End of Chaos, turn 5. The Bikers have moved over, shot at the Warlord. They bring him down to just 2 wounds. The Rhinos did nothing to him. On the far side of the battlefield, we have the Plague Marines, who killed 7 Termagants, but lost 2 of their battle brothers. Then over here at the Tyranids objective, we have the Helldrake and Tervagon. The Helldrake managed to take a wound off the Tervagon, take a wound off the Biovore, and he is contesting that objective. Now to see if the game continues on to turn 6. It does not. Let's count the objectives. Neither player owns the objectives, so that's nothing right there. Both players have Linebreaker. Neither have Slay the Warlord, but the Tyranids did get first blood. So, with only 1 victory point, it's a Tyranids victory.